In this series, Fraternitas, we will try to provide a basic systematic roadmap of Catholic social thought. Human beings live in societies, form families, work together, and enjoy friendships. However, as everyone knows by experience, human social life can also be difficult. We are confronted with 1,000 day-to-day questions of justice and fairness. They have to do with work, education, international law, family life, and religion. There is a widespread challenge of social order, and people are threatened on all sides by confusion, ideology, or ignorance. What are the principles that should govern our social life together? And how can we develop concrete practices of justice, truthfulness, charity, and social unity? Is there such a thing as a coherent and true political philosophy that applies to all human beings? Well, these are clearly difficult questions, and they are ones that affect all of us in some way. This is where the Angelicum Fraternitas series comes in. The series serves as an introduction to Catholic social thought, or CST. Catholic social thought is an age-old tradition of thinking, a collection of ideas and practices that has been formed down through time to analyze and address human social life in light of long-standing principles and in the face of ever-new emerging questions or challenges.
We should think of Catholic social thought as being paradigmatically ever ancient, ever new, to borrow the phrase from St. Augustine.
On the one hand, Catholic social thought is a set of teachings regarding our human nature.
God made us in His own image and likeness.
And man has first been endowed by God with dignity as a reflection of God's image, which dignity has been raised even higher in Christ.
What is the common good we all partake of as social animals who are reasonable and free?
That all can share in a greater joy in playing together than they could have on their own individually.
What is justice, and what are those natural rights that are common to all? From these general considerations, we can begin to understand human freedom, ethical responsibility, and its relationship to political laws and international peace.
That we become instruments of peace by generously granting to others the gift of pardon that we ourselves have received.
On the other hand, Catholic social thought has developed down through time through the consideration of special topics that are of major significance. What's the nature of economic justice and the inclusion in the marketplace? Or what rights do workers have, and what is a just wage?
Because work is for people and not people for work. We work to live and not live to work.
Likewise, how can we identify moral principles that apply to the outbreak of wars and the quest for international peace? More recent examples include the challenges of climate change, immigration, and artificial intelligence. These two sets of issues, principles on the one hand and applications to significant concrete examples on the other, they are both of key importance. In fact, we learn from the concrete challenges much more about what the human being is and how we are to pursue a common life of justice, charity, and peace.
A shared commitment to protect the weakest, care for our common home, and the pursuit of peace.
In such a way that people will flourish, growing in their personal maturity, responsibility, fraternity, and generosity.
And at the same time, we cannot rightly engage with our present challenges without some rootedness in our past and its heritage of wisdom. Today, our world can seem divided and confused. It's a good time to recall the centrality of the notion of fraternity, or in Latin, fraternitas. The search for genuine fraternity is the search, we might say, for our own best selves, our human nature made in the image of God, made for genuine and profound life with others. This idea is associated by some with the French Revolution, but it has much older origins in the Old and New Testaments, in the biblical notion of a universal ethics that treats the stranger, the foreigner, or the poor as a person with dignity, who should be included in the larger social order and cared for with charity. The Dominican intellectual tradition, that of the Order of Preachers, often appeals in these matters to the thought of St. Thomas Aquinas, so we will at times appeal to his ideas in this series. But in fact, much of the Church's Catholic social thought tradition appeals not only to Aquinas, but also to the Bible and ancient philosophy, as well as a wide range of modern philosophical considerations, and to a development of modern Church teachings on social issues. So while the presenters will at times appeal to the teaching of Thomas Aquinas in the series, they will also be thinking about contemporary issues and be applying Catholic principles to a host of ethical topics of our time. In this series, Fraternitas, we will try to provide a basic systematic roadmap of Catholic social thought, presenting the most important values and principles of this body of thought and exploring how they form an interconnected and coherent whole. We'll start with the historical roots and development of these concepts. We'll also take a look at basic building blocks, questions like what are freedom, justice, and truth in human society,
because God created us free and respected our will,
and work from these to principles such as solidarity, subsidiarity, natural rights, the common good, and integral ecology. And we'll end with another look at the idea of universal fraternity itself,
an effort of Catholic social thought to understand and respond to the problems that exist right now in the world.
By the end, we hope that viewers will come away satisfied that they have added a fundamental understanding of Christian social ethics to their intellectual toolbox. Then, in a second series, we'll take up some of the particularly pressing social problems we face today: international conflict, new technologies, ecological crises.
But while the challenges may be new, the sources of the solution are ever ancient and are rooted in the core convictions of our faith.
Catholic social thought might be a fruitful resource to help us think about how to respond to the issues we face today.
We can effectively contribute to a more just and humane society, where each person is able to fulfill his or her ultimate destiny.
So we invite you to sign up for both series and also to continue exploring these ideas and the solutions they may point to in the materials provided along with each episode.
In the next episode, we'll see how criticism of Catholic social thought just might tell you even more about the critics than it tells you about CST itself.